Okay, I'm not gonna let my nostalgia, or at least I'm gonna try not to let my nostalgia get in the way of this review. This is gonna be a quick review, more or less, about Alex Kidd in Miracle World. Now, this game is a game I grew up with when I was a little kid. I'm talking about like 5 years old, 1988, playing this game in Christmas Day, I remember, and having such a great time playing this thing. Of course, I didn't know how to play because I was only 5, and I probably didn't beat this game till like I was in my teens, but I remember having a lot of fun with this game. Fast forward to today, and honest to goodness, this is Alex Kidd in Miracle World DX. I quite honestly thought that Alex Kidd was going to be forgotten. The Enchanted Castle was going to be his last game. It was an okay game, nothing too spectacular, and that was it. And a lot of Alex Kidd fans still hold Miracle World into high regards. So the fact that they brought this game back really shows that there are fans out there, and I'm glad that this game came out. But still, nonetheless, this is a review, and as much as I love Alex Kidd, I'm gonna have to keep my nostalgia in check. Now, I have to state that for the most part, this game is nearly exactly the same game that was released back in '87. And I'm not kidding you here. Everything from like item placement to what's available in the shops to how the bike moves. You can see right here I'm riding the bike. It basically feels the same. However, there was some minor changes. For example, Alex doesn't move as stiffly as he did back in '87. His punch doesn't completely stop all momentum. He could actually like run and punch and slide just a little bit after pushing that button. So they changed him in that aspect. But for the most part, everything's the same. Especially the boss fights. I remember, now I'm not kidding you, I remember from being a little kid, that the first boss, in order to beat him, you gotta pick rock, then scissors. And that's all you had to do. That was true from when I first played the game. It was true from when I bought the game later down the line and beat it as a teenager. And it's even true right now. Watch, go ahead and see this right now. So yeah, a lot of this game is the same. Now that's not to say it's a bad thing. You could use an original GameFAQs strategy guide from way back when to help you beat this game if you ever run into a problem. But still, it's a little disappointing. I'm gonna admit it's a little disappointing that they kept a lot of this the same. But still, it's very familiar to me, and I'm pretty sure longtime Alex Kidd fans will appreciate that kind of originality. And because it's very true to the original, it retains its really high difficulty. And I'm not kidding. This thing might be a slightly easier than the original Miracle World, but it's still tough. It's still tough. During this time, Sega still has not quite gotten into the groove of making console games, so they were still riding on that arcade high. making games really challenging, designed to suck all your quarters. Yeah, they kind of brought that philosophy here into Alex Kidd and Miracle World. And it's very true to how the level layout is, requiring you to have precise jumps, find tricky paths around obstacles. This game is a tough game, and it's going to be quite hard for like newbies to get used to this. Okay, graphics here look wonderful. They still retain that Alex Kidd look a little bit. Alex Kidd looks different every time they kind of iterate him. So this iteration, although it doesn't stay fully true to the original, its unique look at all in any way. It's just like a European look or a European interpretation of Alex Kidd. And I gotta say, it looks good. It has a slight pixelated look to it. It's very bright, and I would say this is a game that might have come out like in a 32-bit era, considering how much animation and colors are being used. And it's a really beautiful looking game. I'm not gonna lie, this is a very good looking game. However, with saying that, I do not like this weird filter that they got going on right here. It's a little off-putting. It kind of makes it look like things are covered in a weird haze. And I wish there was an option to turn that off. Maybe in the future they'll release a patch that gives you that ability. But for right now, you're kind of stuck with it. Still, after a while, you will end up ignoring it. And if you hit it that much, there's always an option to revert back to the 8-bit graphics. When talking about the controls, I'm mostly going to be referring to the one that I'm using on the PC, which is the Xbox One control. So I don't know how it would like pertain to the Switch or PS4 or Xbox One version. But as far as I can tell, it controls great. It's as responsive as I remember it being on the Master System. There's a couple of more options available. You can use the bumper buttons, LB and RB, to switch which items you want to use. Instead of having to go through the pause menu, you actually could just push LB and RB and just push Y right away, and you end up using the item you wish to use. Switching the graphics on the fly is pretty good, but you might accidentally bump it up against the knee and might throw you off with the Damn, I really suck at this part. This is a new level, by the way. That's why I'm unfamiliar. But yeah, in terms of controls, it's very responsive. Alex is a little bit slippery at some points. He has the tendency to move a little bit forwards the direction he's facing. So that might cause some problems when trying to make those really precise jumps in later parts of the game. But still, it's not overly difficult, especially for those who are used to playing 2D platformers, especially those who are used to 2D platformers of the 8-bit and 16-bit era. It has a little bit of a learning curve, I will admit, but nothing too bad where it will totally throw you off. One of the issues that Alex Kidd in Miracle World had back on the Master System was the lack of music variety. There was one for the helicopter, one for the bike, one for the castle, and one for regular stages, his main theme song. And believe me when I say this, that the music got boring really fast. It's not to say that was bad, but yeah, for a game that was supposed to take place throughout an entire country, which was like this big adventure, one would expect there to be a little bit more variety. Jenkins team remedies this by introducing new music as well as recomposing the old stuff. And I gotta say, they did a pretty good job. They kept the spirit of Alex Kidd intact with this new tracks. They even went through the extra mile of actually making 8-bit renditions of the newer stuff. So yeah, if you play this game through 8-bit mode, you're gonna hear like a whole new track to Alex Kidd. And I'm actually really appreciate that. I really appreciate the fact that they went through this effort. Now, the new music basically stays true to the Alex Kidd feel. Everything's cheery, colorful, upbeat, something that is apparent in like most Alex Kidd games. Of course, there are some levels that feel kind of gloomy because, you know, a castle stage is a castle stage, and they're all like that. It's like forbidding and whatnot. But for the most part, everything's basically stays true to what Alex Kidd is. And there you have it, guys. Alex Kidd in Miracle World DX. What do I give this game? Okay, it's probably the nostalgia talking, but I gotta give this game an A. It's a solid game with new levels, new enemies, new boss fights. And I'm glad they changed up the boss fights, because those floating heads from back when I was a kid definitely freaked me out. I'll be honest, those floating heads on the Master System version definitely freaked me out, so I'm glad they changed that. But still, it's an awesome game with good graphics, good sound, awesome gameplay. Fans of the 2D like platformers are definitely going to get a kick out of this game. Now, that's not to say it doesn't have its shortcomings. I wish they would have included like an easy mode with like a health bar and a longer attack range, because when it comes to Alex Kidd games, those were always the issue. You would have like one-hit kills, and you would have to be really close to, you know, beat anything up. So yeah, be aware of that if you're coming like new to the series. You know, if you're barely coming into the series. Still, it's an awesome game. You can easily find this game available on all digital storefronts, on a PSN, Xbox, Switch, and even on Steam. And believe it or not, I've even seen a physical copy of this game in Best Buy for the PS4 for like $35. So if you want to get yourself a disc, you know, it's out there. Anyway, this was Knockout 21, aka David. Please comment, rate, and subscribe, and like always, have a good one. Take care, you guys. Alright, that's not bad. Damn, shine.